Hey guys, it's Cayley. I'm back with another what sold from last week video. In today's video, we're going to be going over what sold for me on Ebay and Poshmark last week. I'll do a quick breakdown here on the screen and then we'll dive into some of those individual sales if you want to know what to look for while you are at your local thrift store to flip online for a profit.
Right, so everything that you see in these reports happened between July 9th through the 15th. I do have a lot to show you, so we are going to jump right into it. I'm going to go kind of quickly. A lot of these items are like the same brand. I'm excited to share this stuff with you to show you what types of things are selling in certain brands for me, as well as some specific categories that we're picking up for fall and winter that are starting to sell. Just have a lot of fun things to show you today. So we're going to dive into it really quickly. Gross item sales for me last week was almost $6,000 and I sold 228 items. That gross item sales is starting to come back up. I've been in the trenches for a couple of weeks, which is to be expected with summer slowdown, but just holding steady no matter what, still listing the same number of items and being consistent every single day. One thing to note before we jump into the items is I have been noticing that Poshmark's been keeping up with eBay as far as, I'm still obviously on both platforms selling off some lower priced items, some of the older items, but in general, Poshmark's really come around as far as having some higher price sales and being kind of neck and neck with eBay. Now, as you can see here, Poshmark, significantly lower average sale price, but keeping up with the amount of items really well. And I love having that supplemental income by being on two platforms. And when eBay's slow, Poshmark usually picks up and vice versa. So still at this moment, really happy being on two platforms and cross-posting everything to each. So let's dive in. I'm going to do something a little bit different today and not tell you individual cost of goods unless it's different than my average cost of goods. So my average cost of goods is usually between $5 and $6. All of these items, everything that we buy now is a combination of what I physically go into thrift stores in my area and pick up items, as well as some people I buy wholesale from. One of my biggest wholesalers right now, and the only one that I'm allowed to share with you guys at the moment, but I hope in the future to be able to share more wholesalers with you guys as they become more public and able to take on new clients. But right now, Trash Panda's wholesale on Instagram is the only one that I'm able to do that with. And they are currently accepting applications and they do have a wait list. But that might open up in the future. So lots of people that we're buying from, be it people who want to source and do the wholesaling route for other resellers, as well as people that just want to, offload their death pile onto us, or maybe are getting out of reselling altogether. But with all of that in mind, my average cost of goods with everything combined is usually between $5 and $6. So I am going to go through this, and unless I specify a different cost of goods, just assume it's between $5 and $6 for the sake of simplicity. All right, let's dive into these items. So the first one is a J. McLaughlin women's ruffle dress. This one is new with tags. I actually did pick this one up from Trash Panda's wholesale, and sometimes with all of wholesalers and people that we buy from, if there are some higher dollar items, they'll want to price those up individually a little bit higher. So I actually paid $15 for this one, but I was really happy to pay $15 because this is a new with tags J. McLaughlin Catalina cloth, which is their signature cloth, which is like this nylon-y stretch material. And I knew there was so much value there because of that. So new with tags J. McLaughlin. I love selling J. McLaughlin new, pre-owned, but definitely when there's the Catalina cloth involved, I know that it's going to be a great sale. So I paid $15 for this one. We listed for around $90 because it was new with tags. And you guys can see it's just a plain black dress. It's not even like one of their bright multicolor prints. And it still sold for a really good price. I sold this on an offer to watcher for $76.40, and this one sold really quickly. Next up is one of my favorite brands to find. and I feel like not enough people know about this. It is Frank and Eileen, kind of plain tag, and definitely their pieces are very like plain like this, like minimalist button-ups in general is what I'm seeing. But really, really great returns on investment. And this one is a size medium, and the style name was right on the inside. It was Silvio. And the style name is really important, I found, with Frank and Eileen, to include it in your title. So this was a really good all-around sale, had a very high sell-through rate on this particular style. I only paid $4.99. I got this off of a new rack at one of my thrift stores. Listed it for $74.88. It sold almost immediately at my full asking price. So a pre-owned shirt, guys. Pretty plain, minimalist button-up shirt. Sold in a few days for $74.88. Like, you cannot beat that. So definitely would look up Frank and Eileen. Typically I can get like usually an average sale price of $50, but there are some like this one that I can price up a little bit higher. All right, next up is a category that I've just been performing really well in lately, which has been surprising. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos, but blazers are something that I used to hate going into the category. Used to never pick up any blazers, didn't matter men's or women's. And now I enjoy picking it up in both departments. But I think it's because I know what I'm looking for now, and I kind of understand how to list them. So this is a Ralph Lauren men's blazer, which this is a bolo brand in the men's blazer section. It performs extremely well. This one was lined and it had elbow patches, which is increasing the value for sure. This was also a classic navy blue color, which I find for me is the best color that sells, and it was corduroy. So lots of things going for it. I paid about $10 for this, knowing that it would probably sell very quickly. We listed for around $50 and it did sell for our full asking price. I've noticed these corduroy blazers with the elbow patches, they're very like academia looking. They fall in that aesthetic and they seem to be really popular right now. But Ralph Lauren's definitely a brand to look out for in the men's department. And when I first came across a Ralph Lauren blazer, up until that point, I didn't realize that Ralph Lauren made men's stuff. So I was very confused. So telling you now, I'm pretty sure Ralph Lauren might be the only category that sells men's is the blazers in this line. Here is another example of a blazer. This one is women's. I pick up almost every single J. Crew women's blazer. Typically women's blazers are not profitable. They don't have a high sell-through rate, but this brand J. Crew really pulls through. Very rarely do I leave it behind. So this one is a Regent blazer, and this one was wool. And so as you guys can see, we're moving towards fall and winter, and people are starting to buy some of those winter materials. So something to think about now, because we're almost to August and it's going to start getting colder here in a couple of months, and people are already buying stuff. So just wanted to throw that out there. This one I also got in wholesale, and I did not pay. Someone else paid my full asking price of $49.88, and this one was also a very quick sale. This is a category I wanted to share with you. This is something I've been holding on to since last, I want to say it was like we listed it in the beginning of the year. So we listed it towards the end of the winter season, which is why it didn't sell. But moving forward, this is definitely something I'm going to be picking up, a category I'm going to be picking up in fall and winter and preparing for it. And even though it sat and I've dropped the price, it still sold for a really great profit. I think I paid around $9 for this jacket. It is a Nautica men's wool dress coat, and that is the category that I'm going to be looking for, are the men's dressier wool coats. I find that those perform really well every single year in fall and winter. Definitely want to look up the brand, but the dressier, businessy type wool coats seem to perform really well and bring a lot of money. So like I said, I think I paid around $9 for this, and it ended up selling for $50, or sorry, not $50, 7 cents. It ended up getting price dropped to and then it sold on an offer for $42.56, which I thought was still a great return on investment, especially given that I've dropped the price. If I would have listed this like right now and then move into fall and winter, I'm confident I probably could have gotten like $75 for it, but happy to see that go. And again, a category I'll be looking for. All right, next up is a very fantastic brand. We've been getting quite a bit of this lately. I also got this in wholesale. It is Reformation, and pretty much anything Reformation that I can tell sells. So, I mean, like seriously, every dress, every sweatpant, every top I've gotten Reformation, even if it's Reformation jeans, sells very quickly for me. This one did have some flaws to it, but we listed it with the flaws. It was a tie front kind of duster cardigan, and this stuff sells for so much money. I can't believe it. We listed this for about $60 and it sold for our full asking price, even with those flaws. So super happy about that, but definitely a brand worth getting in my opinion. And when you're at the thrift store, this is just my opinion because I do like Reformation, but to me it does not feel super high quality. So it might be something that you pass on if you're not paying attention. All right, next up is a factor that I wanted to share with you guys. This is an Abercrombie & Fitch women's jacket, but the factor I wanted to share with you was this waxy texture. So anything waxy seems to increase value. So like waxed cotton, like polyurethane, waxy, anything you feel that feels waxy, I would definitely look up and then make sure to use your keyword wax or waxy, but it increases value because they're a little bit harder to find. So this was a women's blue coat, kind of the same thing as that Nautica one. I listed it towards the end of the season and have been sitting on it. Still sold for good money. I paid $4.99 for this and I listed it for I think around $65 originally. It ended up selling for $45.40, which is still a great return on investment, but definitely a factor I wanted to share with you guys. All right, next up is a very good women's denim brand. It is Mother Jeans. They have the style name on the inside, so it's really easy to look this up. One thing I have found with Mother Jeans is that they don't always have 100% sell-through rate, but they do, even if they sit for a little bit, tend to sell for really good money. So I just pick up pretty much everything in Mother Jeans. Not recommending that you do the same, but I thought that I would mention it. So these are a pair of distressed style name The Center jeans in a size 26, so kind of a smaller size. I paid $7.50 for these and they sold on an offer for $42.40. Really great return on investment. Next up is kind of a blazer. It is a knit blazer kind of sweater jacket, and this brand exclusively Masuk is definitely a brand I would look for in the women's blazer section. It performs extremely well, especially if it's a larger size. So I found a bunch of these at once. I paid only $4.99 for each of them. I listed them for about $50 each. This sold on an offer to watcher for $42.40, and yeah, really great returns on investments with all of those that I picked up all at once. But definitely one in the women's blazer section to look for. All right, I also found a small patch of these jeans at a different thrift store recently. They are AYR, which is a fantastic brand to pick up in general, but I was really happy to find I think I found 4 or 5 of their jeans. I could not believe it. I did pay around $9 for each of them because that's what my Goodwill has them priced for. Kind of like the Mother Jeans, they do have the style name on the inside, so super easy to list. And these jeans, from what I can tell, go anywhere from $45 to $125. So it does depend on the style, but you're still looking at pretty good profits. We listed this for around $45, this particular skinny jean, the riser style, and it did sell for our full asking price. And I'm excited to see all of the rest of those continue to sell. This is an Anthropologie piece. This is a newer brand to me in Anthropologie. It is Belle Kazan, and it's this gorgeous kimono cardigan. And yeah, I could not say no to that. It's really gorgeous. This one I also got in wholesale. We listed for around $54. It ended up selling on an offer for $45.80, and it was an international sale through the global shipping program. Is that even what they call it now? The eBay International Shipping Program. Sorry, I'm probably still going to call it the Global Shipping Program. This next one is an Eileen Fisher piece. I have several Eileen Fishers to show you today because I wanted to show you the variety of sizes that you can sell within Eileen Fisher. I know a lot of people say that it doesn't move for them. I think it really depends on the size and the material. Those two things seem to impact Eileen Fisher the most. So I wanted to share a few of those sales within those ranges. So this is an Eileen Fisher silk sleeveless tunic top, but it is a size extra large. This one had several marks on it, and it's still sold for my full asking price of $44.88. So even with all that, I mean, there's a lot of value in Eileen Fisher, and I'll show you some more later. All right, I just pulled one of these to show you, but I actually had a buyer, I've got my notes here, last week who bought, I found a patch of Ann Taylor wrap dresses in larger sizes, 12 and 14. Some new with tags, some pre-owned at the same thrift store on a new rack, and I got almost all of them. And when I did comps, there wasn't 100% sell-through rate, but it was really close. And I thought I could get anywhere from like 30 to 40 bucks for them on average. Ann Taylor is a brand that does retail for a lot, but most of their pieces don't have good sell-through rates. However, the wrap dresses seem to really hold their value. So when I came across a bunch, I think I got like 8 or 9 in total of those dresses. I got them because I figured they'd be super easy to list because they all had pretty much identical information. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I took that risk because it was like a week or two later after they got listed, a buyer bought 7 of them. I think I only had one other one sold to a buyer on Poshmark, and then I think there's one left. So like within a couple of weeks time of getting them listed, almost all of them sold. So definitely a category in Ann Taylor that I would look for, and just a category in general are the long sleeve wrap dresses. So like I said, some of them were pre-owned, some of them were new. This particular one was new with tags, but I think most of them were pre-owned. I paid $5.99 for each of them. Like I said, this buyer bought 7 of them. It ended up being a total of a bundle of just the item, not including shipping. Shipping was additional and covered by the buyer. But on eBay, my item total for all 7 dresses was $221.28, making the average item sale price $31.61. So the buyer definitely got a deal, but I got to move 7 dresses very, very quickly and make a ton of money. So I am super thrilled about that, and I just wanted to share that sale with you because I don't know that a lot of people would have picked this up. And I don't know that I would have picked it up had I not come across all of them there at once. So I wanted to share that with you because it was a pretty eye-opening sale for me. All right, next up is a brand I haven't mentioned in a while. It is Gramici. I don't find this brand a lot, but when I do, I always get it. Has a lot of value and a really good following. Gramici, this one is an extra small belted pair of pants. We listed them for around $40. They did sell for our full asking price, and this brand typically sells super quickly for me. They have some vintage pieces that go for even more, but just worth looking into for sure. Next up is something I got in wholesale. I took a chance on this. It is a vintage piece. It is 100% silk. It had beautiful colorway to it, and it was a wrap midi dress. So lots of factor stacking there is the reason I felt justified in picking it up. I don't usually just pick up things for style in the vintage category, even though I do like them. I have to always reel myself back and, ask myself, are there enough sellable factors there to ensure that the item sells? Because even though I like it, it might sit and sit and sit. So this is definitely an amazing vintage piece that had a lot going for it. So we did take a chance on that. I listed this for around $45. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $38.15. And yeah, super happy with that sale. Here's another Jane McLaughlin. This is a cardigan. This is not their Catalina material, so it's not that nylon-y material. It is a cotton cardigan, but still, really good profits there as well. We listed this for around $45 actually, and it did sell for our full asking price. So even their simpler pieces might be worth looking into. Definitely the size large helped to increase value. Next up is a golf wear brand that does not show 100% sell-through rate, but I would personally pick up the wacky ones and take a chance on them because some of them can sell for a lot. It is Loudmouth Golf, and as the brand name would suggest, they're pretty easy to come across because they're pretty loud. So this is a multicolor golf print pair of shorts, and we listed these for around $40. They did take several months to sell because, like I said, the sell-through rate wasn't quite there at 100%, but they did end up selling several months later for my full asking price of around $40. Really happy with that. Here is another example of a winter material starting to sell. This is a Garnet Hill cashmere turtleneck top, size large. Definitely large is going to increase the value as well as the turtleneck and the cashmere. Garnet Hill's a brand I have to be very, very picky with lately. It used to be a bolo for me, but it's not anymore. But I noticed their cashmere pieces still perform really well. And this would be a great example of one that's selling in the dead of summer. But like I said, people are preparing now. So we listed this for around $45. It sold very quickly on an offer to Watcher for around $38. So keep your eye out for some cashmere pieces. Here's another example of Eileen Fisher. This one is an extra small. So in my opinion, that is a factor that decreases the value in this brand. However, it was a linen blend kind of beachy sweater, which is really on trend right now. We listed it for around $40. It did sell very quickly at our full asking price. So again, wanted to show you a range in Eileen Fisher that it really depends on what it is. But this one had the linen going for it and was really on trend with that short sleeve beachy knit. So again, just wanted to show you a wide variety. I think I have one more piece to show you. This is a soft surroundings pull-on pair of jeans. This one was new with tags. This is my first time, I believe, selling soft surroundings jeans, so just kind of wanted to experiment with this. I got this in Wholesale, and we listed it for around $35. It did sell very quickly at our full asking price, but it was new with tags. But pull-on jeans, especially these flare ones or pull-on pants, are very, very in right now in just about any brand. So I feel pretty confident picking them up. This next one I also got in Wholesale, and this one does have a few flaws on it. You can see we noted there are spots on the waistband, but this brand in general seems to be a pretty decent brand. It is Caten. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but this is a pair of men's drawstring cord shorts, again with the easy to get on pair of bottoms. Same thing in the men's department. People are just really into comfort right now, pull on, and you're ready to go. So pull on, in my opinion, is increasing value in items. So Caten drawstring cord shorts listed for $35. They sold very quickly, even with the flaw, for $28. This next one is a belt sale. I haven't showed a belt in a while. We actually don't have a lot of belts in the store anymore. We're a lot more picky with them. This is Brighton. Can be a decent belt brand to sell. This one does have a couple of flaws, not flaws, but slight wear to the hardware. And this one had a couple of embellishments that said I love golf and had some golf images on it. So I thought that was a little bit extra special. We paid $3 for it, listed it for around $30, and it did sell for our full asking price. All right, I think this is the last Eileen Fisher. This is another cardigan. It is an extra large. And this was not any particular like special material. You can see there was no material tag, but the fact that it was an extra large helped to sell it even regardless. We listed for around $35 and it sold for our full asking price. And I got this one in wholesale as well. So hopefully showing you all of these Eileen Fisher pieces helped to give you some idea of kind of our strategy. Because I know a lot of you have mentioned it just doesn't move for you. I think it really depends on the size and the material. So you got to have at least one of those things, in my opinion, to get them to move. Here is, along those same lines, a brand that we typically only get in larger sizes, but sometimes if you get it in a small size and you have the material, you can pull it through. This is a J. Jill Love Linen, which is one of their most popular lines. Cute little minimalist dress. I paid $5.99 for these, and they sold on an offer for around $31. So even with the small size, because the material pulled it through using some factor stacking, it did sell. This is a category that's been performing really well for me regardless of brand, and they are like vintage, actual vintage or vintage looking maxi skirts, and I've noticed denim maxi skirts have been performing really well also. This one is a multicolor vintage silver stream pull-on skirt. I'll show you the brand, but I don't think it really matters. Just cotton, but really gorgeous multicolor kind of patchwork looking skirt. And yeah, maxi skirts seem to be in. I got this in wholesale as well. We listed for around $35. It sold for around $30. This is a more modern t-shirt, kind of like Y2K era, but I wanted to show you that even sometimes modern ones can still sell if you know what you're doing. This is a 3 Days Grace t-shirt. Again, kind of more like, this was, I didn't have a date, but it was probably like 2000s all the way to like 2015. In that era, if you've got a desirable band or subject matter, can still sell pretty well. I listed this for around $35. It ended up selling for $27. This is a brand I don't think I've shared a lot of, but it ended up being a pretty decent bolo brand. It is Winter Silks. And this is made out of silk and cotton, and they're pretty easy to come across. They're very lightweight. They do have a certain feel to them, but if you're not paying attention, definitely something you would pass on because it just looks like a plain t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt. But they do have a really good sell-through rate. So I wanted to share this with you guys. We got this for $2, listed it for around $30. It did take several months to sell, but it sold for our full asking price. Here's another J. McLaughlin piece. This is, again, their Catalina knit, which is the nylon blend. So if you're asking yourself, is it Catalina knit or not, check to see if it's like a nylon spandex blend, and it probably is. So it looks like this liquid knit, like stretchy material. This was a pretty plain blue top. It was also a size small, but it was that Catalina knit, which I think helped to pull it through. We listed this for around $30, and it did sell for our full asking price. Moving on to some Poshmark sales. This is a brand that has been performing extremely well for me lately. Although I am almost always sent this in wholesale, I can hardly ever find it in my area, but that is the great thing about buying from other people in different states, is you get to learn about brands you wouldn't know about otherwise. And especially for my videos, because I've got viewers all over, not just the United States, but the world, I find it very beneficial for you guys to be able to share sales like this, because you'll be able to know some bolos that you might be able to find better in your area versus the ones that I was finding only in my area, that you may have never come across. So I thought this was awesome. So Lenya is a brand we've been selling a lot of, but I have gotten most of them in wholesale. from Trash Pandas. So this is a Lunya extra large silk tank top. This brand has like a lot of like luxurious feeling but minimalist, like kind of loungy pieces. They have pajamas, I think, and I don't know, it's just performing really well. I mean, this is a sleeveless plain tank top and it sold for $38 on Poshmark because it was silk and the Lunya brand. So very happy with that, and these tank tops I can usually get around 40 for. Here is another Lunya item. This is a sweater. I think this is my first time selling a Lunya sweater. And this was an organic cotton nylon silk blend sweater. I think they might also sell cashmere pieces, which go for way, way more. I paid up for this in wholesale just because it was a higher tiered item. I paid $15 for this, and I ended up accepting an offer really quickly on Poshmark for $90. I think I had it priced at $125. When I got the offer for $90, I was like, I'll take it and move it really quickly, but definitely a brand I would be on the hunt for. Next up is our Spanx leggings. I don't know if you guys have noticed lately, but the sell-through rate on the Spanx Moto leggings have dropped tremendously. It used to be a huge bolo. I used to be able to get like $75 for these. Not the case now, but I'm still picking them up because I can usually get around 40 to 50 for them. This is a pair of Spanx full leather Moto leggings, and it was a size large in great condition. So like I said, used to be able to get 75. This one sold for 38. I'm still picking them up because I can still get pretty good profits off of it. But just goes to show that you always want to keep up with your comps because at any moment your bolos could change. This is a brand I thought I would mention. I have been sitting on it for a little while. Same thing as those other coats I showed you. I just listed them towards the end of the season. But this is something I'll be looking for over the next several months. This is a newer brand to me. It is called Modern Eternity. I found this actually new with tags, and it is a maternity brand that sells coats and potentially other things. But I was really happy with this sale. I think you could probably get closer to $100 for it if you listed it towards the beginning of the season. I have since dropped my price and it ended up selling for $68. I originally paid $9 for it, but again, really happy with that return on investment, but wanted to share that with you guys. If you haven't heard of this brand, I would be on the hunt for it in the coats section. This is a more of a bread and butter brand for me, but it always pulls through. It is Title IX. They make women's like activewear clothing. This is called the Sunburster top in a size extra large. It sold for $29 on Poshmark. This is definitely a bolo brand in the men's department. It is Flint and Tender. I pick up everything in this brand. It sells so quickly for me. This is a size large linen blend Hawaiian shirt. I kind of had to make up a price on this because I did not see comps for a linen Hawaiian shirt. So we listed it for around 50 on eBay, around 60 on Poshmark, and ended up taking an offer closer to my price I wanted to get for $48. So happy with that. This brand, I can't say enough good things about it. It performs so well, and I hope it never becomes oversaturated because it's definitely a bolo right now. This has also been a bolo for me. It's more bread and butter, but it does fly, like it's lightning fast. So Kula Bar, they make UPF sun protection pants. Usually the style name is right here too, which is nice. This brand's really taken off and I've sold a lot of it lately. Really depends on the style you get, but again, super quick bread and butter, so I enjoy picking it up. These ones sold for $29 and they're just a pair of pull-on pants. This is a newer brand to me as well. I picked this up from, I think it was somebody's death pile. This one did have quite a bit of wear to it. So you can see slight wear on the bottom. There were marks on the outside and wear on the handles. We did try to clean it up, but as you can see, you can see that the marks on it, it did not come off. But I was really surprised to learn about this brand Claire V, because just looking at the bag, it just looks super plain. in my opinion. It did feel like high quality leather, but I think I would have like not looked at this bag had I found it in the thrift store. So this one, we dropped the price significantly because of the flaws. It still ended up selling for $75. I think we could have gotten much more for it if there wasn't, all that wear. But goes to show, even if there is significant wear, that you still might be able to do pretty well with this brand. So definitely worth looking into. I would, of course, be careful about fakes, but Claire V seems to be a really, really popular brand, and one you might be able to find more frequently in your area. This is an Athleta item. I've talked a lot about how Athleta leggings, and really leggings in any what used to be major athleisure or athletic brands, are not performing very well for me anymore. But anything bottoms wise outside of leggings, like track pants, wide leg pants, different kinds of pull-on pants are performing well, and this would be a good example. This is called the women's Brooklyn Height pants. They were only a size 2, but they still sold for $35. And with Athleta, you do have to look up the style number on the inside. I mean, you don't have to, but I would suggest looking it up because it can make a big difference. So I was happy with that sale. Along those same lines, this is a men's athletic wear brand that performs really well. It is more of a bread and butter. It doesn't sell for a lot, but it does sell quickly. These are the Rhone men's commuter slim pants, and I love finding Rhone in just about anything because I know I can usually within a week make $25 off of it. We paid $7.50 for these, knowing that they would sell quickly, and they ended up selling on Poshmark for $29. Here is another very specific bolo you could look for and come across pretty often, at least I do. They are Offline by Aerie leggings or yoga pants, but they have to have this crossover waistband. This crossover waistband seems to be performing really well in just about any brand, and I found with Aerie they have a very high sell-through rate if they've got the crossover waistband. They're only going to sell for $20 to $25, but I've sold a lot of them recently and I thought I would share that with you. These ones sold for $22 on Posh. This continues to be a bolo brand for me in the outdoors wear category. It is cool, and any kind of like heavier duty men's pants in this brand bring a lot of money. These ones are called the Free Rider pants. They have the vintage patina to them, and they sold for $42 and very, very quickly. Here's another Reformation item. This is Reformation jeans. This one also sold really quickly. It was a size extra large, so that definitely helped to sell it. Pretty plain black dress. This was called the Midi Rue dress. And I also paid up for this in wholesale. I paid $15. It ended up selling on an offer for $50, which I accepted just to sell it quickly, but I probably could have gotten more, like $65 for this. This was an item we took a chance on for the Y2K style. This is a Guess collection women's polo, and I just thought it was super Y2K. Very cute, and it just had that it factor to it is the best way I could describe it. Plus it was pink, and that Barbie movie just came out, and pink stuff is really popular right now. I do think that trend is going to die very soon because the movie just came out. So just keep that in mind, but just my opinion. This ended up selling very quickly, actually, for $29 on Poshmark, and definitely the Y2K keywords definitely helped to sell it. I have to show you this in pretty much every What Sold video just because it's such a great bread and butter bolo. It is the Figs scrub pants. These were the Cade cargo scrub pants, and they sold for $29 on Poshmark. I sell so many Figs, tops, bottoms, doesn't seem to matter. They sell really quickly. This is another bread and butter bolo that I've mentioned before. It is the Express Portofino shirt. It actually says Portofino on it, so they're really easy to find. They have a very good sell-through rates, even in smaller sizes. But again, they're not going to sell for very much. I've had someone buy these in bundles. kind of like those Ann Taylor wrap dresses. I've also had them purchase them in one-offs, and I can usually get 20 to 25 for them. The higher end would be larger sizes or nicer, more rare prints. So this is just a pretty plain blue top, but it was a size large, and this one sold on Posh for 20. This one is a bolo. It is onsen robes, and anytime I see this waffle texture in robes or towels, I always look it up because it's just very popular right now, this waffle knit. So onsen's definitely a brand I would be on the hunt for. They make these like Turkey, I think it's made in Turkey, Sapimi cotton robes and towels, and I've sold a lot of them in the past. My other ones sold super quickly, so I'm not sure why this particular one did not sell for it as much. Oh yes, I do. It's because it had a flaw. It was missing the sash or the waist tie, so that's why it sold for less. I paid $12.99. I found a batch of these, all of which sold for like close to $75. This one was the last one, and it did not sell very quickly because it was missing the tie. I accepted an offer of $45 for this on Poshmark, which even with that fall is still a fantastic return on investment. This is very Barbiecore. I wanted to show you guys this because J. Crew, it kind of gets a bad rap, and I think it really depends on what the item is, but some of their newer pieces can do well, or they're on-trend pieces. So this one was more unique. It was very Barbiecore. It was a little bit more rare, I guess you would say. I could not find a ton of this online. I listed for around $35. It sold for $29 on Poshmark, and I just got it because, again, it kind of had that it factor to it. It was a little bit different, and I thought it was really on trend. Last sale of the day that I wanted to share with you guys is a bolo in the handbags department. It is American Leather Company. Now this one did have general wear throughout, which is why I think it sat for a little bit longer than it should have. But these are pretty plain looking handbags, but they usually have the logo, or not the logo, the brand stamp on the outside. And I've sold this brand actually for I think around like $85 when it's in better condition pre-owned. This one was obviously not. There was a lot of general wear throughout. There were scratches on the leather, and there was stuff on the inner lining. Even with all of that, it still ended up selling for $39 on Poshmark. So I'm not trying to be in the habit of selling flawed items, but lately I have found myself in possession of flawed items, and I'm still able to get a pretty decent return on investment for them. So I'm still listing the ones that have a lot of value, and I thought I would share this sale with you.
Alright guys, so that was it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Subscribe down below if you're not already. I tried to do these every single week. Sometimes they are quick, sometimes they are more of a deep dive, but everything is going good here at the office. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.